action, they crushed it. It's just a spectacular movie.
Final warning.
I could do this all day.
What's up out there, YouTube? This is Sebastian. Yeah, 0320.
030.
Did we really do that at the same time? That was actually
Kinda,
pretty cool.
yeah.
That was actually pretty cool. Like you did Johansson, I did SEL, and then you
tight.
said seriously. I like that. So I'm talking about. See, that's what I'm saying. Like we're the opposite. He's not Tony Stark. I'm not Captain America. We work together. We Black Panthers. Anyway, this is our spoiler review for Captain America: Civil War. So if you've not seen the movie, which most likely you haven't, I'm not sure when we're actually going to release this, but take this, put in your watch later, because this is a movie you cannot miss, because from a Marvel standpoint, this ranked up there to me in the top 3. I think we both gave Civil War a 9 out of 10, and now we're about to go and give you our reason why. So this is point of no return. We're about to go into heavy spoilers. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so first off, for me, you want to talk about the positives or the negatives?
I mean, we can whatever's up to you, because I mean, I don't really have a lot of negatives to talk about, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, so I'll talk about the positives. Then we can just really just kind of go in on this movie. So for me, I loved Chadwick Boseman's a freaking T'Challa. The way that they set this man up, like first you get to see the king. You get to see the king because he plays an interesting role as far as the UN summit. They're trying to assess what to do about the heroes, because early on in the movie, the guy Crossbones, he comes into the fold, and basically Crossbones, if you don't know from the Civil War comics, he's the one that actually assassinates Captain America, which I thought was going to happen. I'll get into some of my negatives about that later. But there's this interesting brawl that happens. He takes this biological weapon, they take it back. Awesome set, awesome sequence. And like Scarlett Witch to try to save Captain America, because he decides, basically Crossbones decides to blow himself up. She holds him, and so she pushes him up in the air, and as she did that, exploded and blew out a whole, 4 or 5 stories of a building, killing a whole bunch of people. And the other thing about this movie, I'll say this, the Avengers are not afraid to kill. A lot of interesting things have been coming around, like superheroes should be killing this, shouldn't be doing that. Dude, there's a lot of people that die in this movie. From the Avengers and from everywhere else. There's a lot of collateral damage. You get to find out that even in the other previous movies that people died just from the fight sequences. And I thought that that was touched on well. But anyway, to further that point, T'Challa is introduced when you actually find out that his dad is at the seminar talking about the Avengers, trying to get them to go to this registration act that they have to all sign off on because of the ramifications of what they've done. They have to act underneath the UN as kind of like government-owned product, essentially, versus kind of being as vigilantes. And I thought that that was really interesting setup versus how they have it in the comic book, because comic book is the registration act. They have to go and disclose who their identities are. And this one, I was like, that doesn't work because everybody knows who these characters are. They're secret. They don't have any secret identities. So I thought that that worked well. But to have T'Challa there and just to kind of see his demeanor, his accent, and then like after his dad died, it was so much weight that you felt from his performance that after that point he just goes. Like he puts on this ring. And you realize he's like, oh, I'm going to kill this dude that got my dad. And the way that's all set up with the Winter Soldier, like he gives Winter Soldier that business, man. Like they really couldn't stop this man. Yeah. Like everybody got a piece of T'Challa. Everybody really did. Like they all were trying to,
He do some work, man.
Like he did this one kick move. I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh, you talking about that like that 3-piece kick before it hits the ground?
Like
that joint was dope.
Oh my god! Like I mean, the dude is deadly. He's skilled. He's smart. Like dare I say, he could actually lead the Avengers if he wanted to. He's that crisp. And this is his first debut. And the thing I'll say that the thing I loved about Winter Soldier.
Not only that, but even without the suit, he was fighting.
Like he was giving him the work.
I was like, yo, this This is it.
Yeah, like I love Chadwick Boseman's like version of that, and I mean even with that, like the thing I loved about the Winter Soldier is that when the Winter Soldier came, they couldn't stop the Winter Soldier, right? And this one, the Winter Soldier, he's trying to be a human. He's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to stop himself from doing this, and you find out this character by the name of Zemo. He's came up with this idea of reprogramming him, repropositioning him to do these heinous things again, and he used that, and he activates him. People die. He goes against the Avengers. He goes against Cap. Cap has this one dope sequence where he stops a freaking helicopter by holding it in midair and pulls it down. Man, pulls it down. Dude, it was a moment. Real talk. I thought Cap was about to die. I was like, oh my God, they had the gall to kill Captain America like this early? And I thought if they had done it, anyway, I'll get into that later. But I say all that to say that the Winter Soldier plays a big role in this movie. And like, him activated is so deadly. But even with him activated, freaking Black Panther gave him the business. And I mean, he was the deadliest thing about the Winter Soldier. The other thing, they bring Spider-Man into the mix. Peter Parker. Like, I mean, the first time we actually see Peter Parker, like, Iron Man had already been sizing him up. He'd already been analyzing him. He'd already been finding him. And, like, the whole dialogue sequence with him and Tony Stark is so funny. It's so classic Peter Parker.
It's hilarious.
I was like, this is dope. But, did you want to talk about, like, the way that Spider-Man fights and talks?
I mean, it's classic Spider-Man. Like, classic Spider-Man, like the witty banter while fighting. You know, he's trash talking. People he's fighting. Like one scene, I forgot who threw a car at him. Spider-Man says, "Hey, I think you lost this," and throws a car back at the. I think it was Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
But it was just, and things like that. Like there's multiple examples throughout the movie, and then the one part where he is actually fighting Ant-Man or Giant Ant-Man, and he's like crawling on top of his eye. I was just laughing.
Yeah.
But I mean, and he's actually doing a lot of damage. You know, he can definitely hold his own. Even though it was a young Spider-Man that we were watching, he seemed like a seasoned fighter. So
yeah, he said what was like 6 months or 8 months or something like that.
6 months, and so I mean, I was interested in see like where they're gonna take his character in the future.
Yeah. Dude, he's young.
Yeah.
And he was like, it was one moment he was like webbing up. He webbed up. Matter of fact, he webbed up everybody.
Really.
Because like he got Cap a couple times.
Yeah.
But Cap was the only one able to bring him down. He had the Winter Soldier and Falcon kind of held down.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, he was just talking trash the whole
entire time.
So to me, they were one of the things I really loved about the film. The other part that I'll say I really loved is the fact of Tony Stark. They show Tony Stark. They show literally Robert Downey Jr. in younger form. I don't know how they do that in these movies.
Cool. That was cool.
I was like, this dude really legitimately looks young. And then they showed his dad. They showed his mom. And one of the things that I thought was really pivotal is that the third act, it showed that the Winter Soldier was the person that killed his parents. I knew that. And I think that they had even alluded to that in in Winter Soldier. When they went into the bunker and they looked through the documents and they saw about Winter Soldier and the things that he had killed, there was a document that showed Howard Stark. If you didn't know it, I mean, I knew it. And the thing was that there was a sequence that happened in the middle where they show like Winter Soldier in 1991 and he had just taken out his one vehicle and then took this whatchamacallit, and you realize it's the super soldier serum. And I like that from an origin standpoint, but I predicted it, you know? But I thought that the way that Robert Downey Jr. played it, like he came from trying to get the group assessed to a certain situation. There's one moment he talks to this woman that her son was a casualty of their mission at Age of Ultron. And then he's feeling with all this guilt. Pepper Potts has left him. And I mean, at this point, like he's like, well, now we've killed people, you know, like we have to be held accountable. And that's one of the things I like, because they actually brought real thought to the notions of why their perspective was right or wrong. And it couldn't be really a right or wrong situation. You just have to, what's your own perspective and who you would really be going with. And I like that about it. And even with the very end, when he finds out, like when all of it's said and done, that it was all set up, it was all Zemo that did all this, to come to find out that his parents were killed by the Winter Soldier in cold blood, even though it was activated, it was like, it didn't matter to him. He's like, this man gotta die. And he compromised in a lot of different ways. And it's emotional and it's done really well. But that was one of the things I thought it was really highlight. I mean, even like with Chris Evans as Captain America, I really love him as that. He does a great job in this one. Scarlet Witch and Vision, they have like really interesting dialogue. It's really a lot of flirting and banter going on. I thought that was really cute. But anyway, any other positive you can think of other than Giant Man, which that surprised the heck out of me. If I didn't have the statue, I would have never known they went and did it. You got any other positives?
I mean, every character was used properly.
Yeah.
There was not one character in this movie that was like underused. And it was like the fight scenes and how they had them set up. It was like they really thought these fight scenes through, like how these heroes be working together or against one another and how that would look like. For instance, you had Hawkeye shoot Ant-Man at Iron Man on an arrow. Like that just completely, like, I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Not only that, but every character was had a couple fight scenes where they were just doing damage. Like I was even impressed with Black Widow at the first scene. And also throughout the movie, she was just destroying people. Like she was doing like different grappling moves where she would actually go from one person, and then without touching the ground, she would go to another person and like grappling all these guys to the ground. It was just crazy. And not only that, but your girl Scarlet Witch, she from Age of Ultron into Civil War, she has like a huge upgrade of power. Yeah. So I mean, she's definitely hit the weight room. So
yeah, she's been trying now.
Yeah, like she's been, and she's like powerful enough to overtake Vision. That's one thing in this movie I was going into. I was kind of questioning. I was like, who is gonna match up against Vision? And Scarlet Witch, she's that person.
Yeah.
And, I mean, boy, has she got like major upgrades.
Yeah.
Black Panther, I was very pleased with his performance. Because throughout the movie, like seeing him in the suit or without the suit, he was impressive to watch. The reason why I said that is because he carried himself like a king would. Even his dialogue, he was short to the point, said what he needed to say. He was kind of held himself with authority, and you definitely saw that. And not only that, but even the way he talked to Black Widow in the press conference or in the conference room, it was like he carried himself like royalty would, and I was like, yeah, they really did his character justice. And I like how towards the end where he actually spared the guy or brought him in, Zeno into custody versus killing him. It was like, vengeance is not going to overtake me. And that, to me, that just solidified his character as being like, carried himself with so much grace and just this is a staple of a true. It
solidified him as a hero.
As a king. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, carried himself as a wise king would.
Yeah.
And had a very high sense of nobility to him. So I mean, that was a great part of the movie that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, but now we're gonna go into some negatives. Joe said he didn't have really any negatives. I got quite a bit because for me, this movie, it had the opportunity of being a 10 for me, and it was basically two things that they really could have done. I talked with a couple people in the car, and I don't want to draw this out too long. We've been talking for a long time. Really, it falls under stakes, like a death or something pivotal that happened that would really flatline the group as a whole, not just morality standpoint or not just their spirits broken. 'Cause that's the whole point of the movie. The point of the movie is they're having a civil war. There has to be justification and reason why they're fighting. That was apparent towards the end of it, it brought justification to everything that was really happening. I understood that, but there was no real casualty how it kind of came out. Matter of fact, the way it ended is that Captain America really beat him. He really beat Iron Man. Could have killed him. He didn't. He stopped himself. Reminiscent of the comic books, but in the comic books there was a casualty out of it. Not only did he get arrested, but in this day he got sniped. Captain America does not die in this movie, nor does anybody else. What does happen in this movie is Rhodey, because of Vision getting emotional and him uncalculated, he's worried about Scarlet Witch. He shoots in the air after Iron Man tells him to at Falcon, but he misses and hits Rhodey. And basically Rhodey goes down and he couldn't stop. And Falcon tries to grab him, Iron Man tried to grab him, they couldn't grab him, he just hits. And he becomes paralyzed. And I knew that was kind of going to come, because I knew at some point it's going to have to be the Rhodey that we know from the comic books. If you know comic books, that's the situation. I didn't have a problem with that, but that was the only real thing that was lost in translation of everything, other than the skewed relationship of Captain America and Iron Man. And even with that happened, but it gets made up for by the end of the movie, because there's basically he sends him a letter and apologizes about it, and like Iron Man's just okay with that, keeps the burner phone, tells him the right kind of thing, and that's understandable. But I mean, not to compare it to another movie. I'm not going to do that. It's just to say their resolve gets resolved. Like, what I mean is that they had a real serious conflict, something that you can't really get over, something like that. But it does. And I thought that if that didn't get taken out, Rhodey didn't die, Captain America didn't die, nobody really died, there were no real stakes that kind of kept me pushing this to the envelope. Especially coming to the fact that you got Doctor Strange coming, you got Thor Ragnarok with Thor and Hulk, and then after that it's Infinity War. It's like I was thinking somebody was gonna die, nobody did. The other fault that I had was Zemo. Now it's not because of Zemo. The character Zemo, even I talked with CJ from Three Back Bleeds, he was like, Zemo is a maniacal person that works behind the scenes and sets up, but yeah, at the same time he's also a soldier. He also carries like a sword. He has this little purple mask. All that. He doesn't have any of that. He doesn't have a sword. He doesn't even fight in this movie. The guy that plays Zemo does a great job in his acting performance, but there was no pivotal reason, in my personal opinion, that he was actually needed. Because basically, the platform for his character was to position the Winter Soldier in a way that he could control him just long enough to find out the location of these other soldiers that were created, that are worse and are stronger than the Winter Soldier. And I was like, oh my gosh, now this is crazy. And I was thinking, okay, he's going to use these soldiers to just unleash them. Like, okay, y'all thought that the Avengers were this, that, and the other. Now look what they've birthed into the world. Look what Captain America could become potentially, you know? And he doesn't do that. Instead, he decides to kill every single one of these soldiers, just offs them. And on top of offing them, the setup was to bring Iron Man, Captain America, and the Winter Soldier in the same area to break their bond, to break their accord, to break their morale, because he was wronged. He had his wife, his daughter, and his father killed in the location that happened in the Age of Ultron, which they really don't address that. I was looking for a flashback that actually showed me some emotional depth to his character, how he was before. That doesn't really happen. So it's like they could have honestly left that out. And they could have gotten to the point where you realize Winter Soldier killed Iron Man's parents. No matter what, that could have played out or fleshed out. They didn't have to even have this character actually do it. But even if they actually did, I feel like they should have never introduced like some soldiers that were stronger than the Winter Soldier just for them to get killed like that. I felt like that was a wasted opportunity for me personally. And those two things were the things that kind of kept me from pushing this to a 10. Because even if you know he had did that and they never actually mentioned those soldiers, and he was like, while they're fighting, engaging in combat, like he shows him the imagery, the footage of the Winter Soldier cold and just killing his parents, that would change Tony, instead of being a leader to the group, instead of being, you know, the composed one, to him just unleashing everything out on the Winter Soldier. I think that would have been, if he had did that mid-fight, oh my gosh, that would have made up for me even more so than somebody dying, because he would have went with the intent to kill. None of them actually did that up until that point. So that was, to me, it was a wasted opportunity of just introducing some things like that. I'm glad that he didn't kill Zemo. They actually preserved a villain, but then he wasn't necessarily needed in this movie necessarily. I think that they could have plushed it out another way, but I really was hoping for somebody to die, and at the same time, I think that the way that they actually platformed the villain, I don't know if it was the right way of actually doing it personally. But that was the thing that kept it from being a 9.5 or even a 10 for me, because this could have been a 10 in a lot of different ways. Like if Captain would have died or somebody would have died, dude, I would have given it to him. Straight up, I would be like, this is the best movie this year. But what was some of the reasons why you didn't bring this to a 10? Why did you keep it at a 9 versus a 10?
I'm not sure. To be honest with you. But I mean, one thing that I didn't really find fond of was, I mean, it's kind of like nitpicky, but I think for Scarlett Witch's character, like her brother died in the previous movie. That doesn't really get talked about.
It doesn't get brought up at all.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's one thing that I think they could have, you know, they could have had a lot of opportunity with, is like see her how she's handling that, because Hawkeye comes out of nowhere and then decides to join Captain's side, but you really don't know why. And I think because maybe because of Quicksilver, that would have been a good reason to why he was there. But I mean, that's not really actually verbally stated. So I'm just making that kind of like a long shot here. But that and so Tony Stark and Pepper are like separated or whatever, which is actually a really important fact. But that doesn't really get too much attention.
You don't understand why or how. I mean, it gets explained for a second.
Yeah, you don't. But they don't really explain what happened there, or where they are now, and that's kind of a big deal. Sensing what everything Iron Man is going through right now at the moment, because I mean, the guys at the end of the movie, like it was really crazy. It was really very dramatic, but the guy's just broken at the end of this movie, man, and I'm just like, wow. I feel for his character, but
because I mean, even if she would have just kind of showed up and be like, I know we're feuding, but I'm here for you. You know what I'm saying? Like that would have been actually really interesting if they would have kind of had her come, kind of be there. Because I mean, the thing is, even Cap is messed up.
Well, I mean, I really wouldn't necessarily. I just want to understand why they're separated. Is it a good enough reason for them to be separated? You know?
Yeah.
I'm. If whether she came back or not, I'm not really too concerned with that. I just want to know what's the reason, because it's got to be, because I mean they've been through a lot. Yeah. For them to be separated. So. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's one of the things I think that it got addressed about Iron Man 3, how he said he was about to quit, but he didn't. That was one thing I didn't understand about Iron Man 3. Is like I thought he was quitting. There's no need for him to wear a suit, but then he came back in Age of Ultron, just like. Everything was, I kind of got addressed for a second, but that was another thing I really didn't understand or have them allude to. But I mean, anyway, like I said, it's a good movie. I really enjoyed it, but it easily could have been one of the better superhero films. So as far as in terms of Marvel movies, what would you rank this one?
Oh man, I really enjoyed it. It's very high on the list there. Very high on the list. It's got to be.
So what's your favorite?
It's top 3. I'm not sure. Because they've come out with so many movies that in the time span that they come out, like Avengers 1, I've seen that so many times now. I'm kind of watching it now. I don't really get anything from it. But I mean, it's definitely probably at least top two. Top two, I would say.
Top 3.
Top 2.
So what's your first 2?
Well, I mean, probably this and probably Avengers. Probably the best ones.
Yeah.
I mean, but then again, too, like even above that, I would say the Netflix Daredevil series for me. I mean, that's the bread and butter.
Dang, that's we count that. We can't. Well, we can't count. We can't count series because if we did that, that would be a whole different skewed thing. But I mean, for me, even with me, giving it a 9 out of 10, it's always been for me, Winter Soldier, Avengers, and then it's been Guardians of the Galaxy. The thing about this one is that this actually might be better than Avengers for me. But this isn't necessarily better than Winter Soldier for me because I like the tone of Winter Soldier more. I know that sounds weird, but I really love the tone of the Winter Soldier. Like I thought it was really smart. It was really high stakes. Like there were certain things that happened. I mean, even Sam Jackson almost freaking died. Like Scarlett Johansson, she even got shot and got died. I mean, the only thing that kind of happened in this one. Anyway, I'm not gonna keep going over it, but I think that this one probably falls in line with my top 3. I don't know if it's better than Avengers, but I know I gave it the same grade that I did for Winter Soldier. So it's probably one of the top ones. I have to say that. So it was a great time in the movies, and definitely can't wait to go see it again. Hopefully some things I missed. There is an end credit sequence that actually brings up Chadwick Boseman's version of Wakanda. Oh my gosh, the technology and just seeing like all that, like I can't wait for Black Panther. That was a perfect setup for it. But there's not another sequence that we saw after that. There might be something different when it comes out to theatrical. But when y'all see this, y'all hopefully have already seen it. But hopefully you enjoyed our spoiler-filled review for Captain America: Civil War. I think we got everything out. Any other closing thoughts you can have? But yeah, in the future, I'm thinking about doing since I said before I'm not going to do a biased, comparison of the movies, I think I might go and actually have like a discussion about comparisons of other movies in addition to that. So that maybe should be pretty fun. Let us know in the comment section below if you think about that. We'll talk about it more later. But yeah, thanks everybody for watching.
So are we going to do a comparison or not?
Nah, I think that we should. We're just not on this because the whole point for me is just to enjoy the actual reviews so people can get a perspective of this and the ranking of a Marvel movie versus a ranking of other movies that we're not going to go into.
Everybody wants to know.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if we're going to record that tonight, but we'll definitely go into it. We'll go into it later. Hey, keep it locked. JVS, we ain't going to stop. Y'all have a blessing. Peace.